should we go ahead and get started? It is 5 o'clock.
Let me just double check to make sure we have Chambers in there. So I believe we are live. I didn't have the YouTube stream up. 1 second. Well, actually, we should be good.
We should go, right? Okay, it is 5 o'clock. I now call this meeting to order. The first part of the meeting is public comments. Ade, I want to reconfirm with you to see if we have any public comments.
No, we do not have.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Moving on to committee business. The first item is approval of summary minutes for June 23rd, 2020.
Move approval.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second for approval of the summary minutes of June 23rd, 2020. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. The second item is Civic Plus C-Click Fix for eyes on Fairway. Thomas?
Good evening, Chair Tran, committee, and council members, or council president as well. Before you is the approval or passing of the C-Click Fix contract. This is an interesting one. I'm really excited for it. It's what the mayor had announced at his State of the City address, and effectively what it comes down to is an app for the citizens of Federal Way to use that can help allow the city and the citizens to communicate much better. So, for example, I think you've been in other communities. Seattle is one that kind of led the pack on this, where you can download their app, take a picture, submit it real quick, say it's litter, or it's graffiti, or it's a pothole, any wide array of requests. And you can submit that, and it goes through an automated process through to the city staff. And the city staff receive that and then can take a look at it. They can also request more additional information with the citizens if necessary. And once they complete it, they can take a picture of photographic evidence, document, and then send it back, and the system will automatically close it out and notify the person. Now that is a overly simplistic explanation of what this system does. It is actually a very complex system. And before you is a product that is actually well integrated into some of the city's existing systems, such as the ViewWorks system for public works, such as the GovQA system for the city clerk for allowing public records requests to be submitted through the system. And so those are two of the systems that would help, as well as our Esri GIS system, so that we can have all of this location information based on where reports are made, put into our GIS system, so that we can further make analysis and create either dashboards based on type of requests submitted, and we can also maybe make different type of maps to show what types in certain areas and geographic areas of the city that would be beneficial for not only council but for our public to kind of see. So all that said, this is actually, I'm really excited about this product. It's going to be really cool for us. We after the mayor announced that we've been working with trying to identify the best product for the city. We've surveyed several of our neighboring cities, and we've come back with C-Click Fix being one of the better products out there. Cost per benefit, it was definitely a very close call. So I'll leave it that, because I know we're trying to keep this meeting pretty short, and I'll open it up for questions. Happy to answer anything that you might have.
Thank you, Thomas. Community members, do you have any questions? I see Mark. Go ahead, please.
Oh, great. Thomas, no question, but really a comment. I'm really pleased that we've got an option that we can move forward for council deliberation and hopefully approval. But this type of communication is exactly what we need as a city with our community members. It's going to streamline the process of communicating issues, and it's going to close the loop more effectively on make sure resolutions are communicated to the person that made the complaint or had the comment. So I think in the end, it's going to be just a great time saver, but it's also going to just reflect, I think, very favorably on our interest as the council and the city staff and mayor to be as responsive as possible to the needs of our citizens. So I'm really pleased. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Kopang. Well, one thing to kind of go on that is after the mayor had the State of the City, it was over. I was in the lobby and I had a couple of citizens come up to me and basically tell me, it's about time we have this. So yeah, to your point, exactly. It's going to be great.
Thank you, council members, committee members, Copan for that comment. At this time, I would like to invite Council Member Kochmar. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chair Tran. No, I think it's an absolutely fabulous idea. But, there are still people who are not, really internet savvy. So will you still keep promoting how they can call in case they want to talk about graffiti or some other problem so that people know where to call? We need to make sure that the people who aren't on the internet will know how to contact the city.
Correct.
So they can still call in.
Councilmember Kochmar, I don't think the mayor would ever discontinue phone call service to the city.
I mean, you need to let people know where will you let them know how to call in? I mean, how will you publicize that?
I mean, that's definitely a marketing aspect to this system. So this is a multiple prong system that we have here. It's not just an app. There is also a website component so that people can still go online to our website and click on this, and they can go through the same workflow that the app would have. There are other cities such as Auburn and Renton, I believe Redmond as well, that did a pretty aggressive ad campaign. I think Lakewood did as well, where they actually created stickers and they created all kinds of other stuff that went around with it. Where they actually flyers, stickers, posters, and they put it all around. And so they really got the word out that here's the app. This is how you download it. This is how you work with it. And as part of that, we could add a telephone number. But
that's all. That's good.
I would suggest I would kind of make sure that we kind of vet that a little bit, because we don't want to just have people continue to call us. We really want to kind of drive the people that are technically savvy towards the app, because it's going to really streamline the efficiency. Because if people are still calling in and somebody's going to have to still take it, the efficiency part goes down. So we want to cater definitely to that user group that need the phone, but we also want to try and strike that balance so that the technological.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you.
And
At this
can
time, I
add
would like.
something to that?
Sorry, go ahead.
As a practical matter, the same staff that are going to be answering the phones are the same staff that are going to be answering these requests that come in through the app. We don't have increased staff because of this application. So everybody, our normal process will continue because they have to continue. It's the same staff doing both jobs. So.
Thank you, Ryan, for that. That was one of the things that I was gonna ask, but you answered my question. So at this time, I would like to invite Council President Honda. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. So is a contract for the whole 5 years? Is that what will be? Do we have to pay that at this time, or do we just pay yearly?
We pay annually, correct.
Oh, good. Okay. And when someone takes a picture, let's say of a pothole or graffiti, is there somehow that the address is attached to that, or does the person have to type the address in?
So that's the cool part about SeeClickFix over some of the other competitors. It is very location based. So as part of installing the app on your phone, you'll get a geo. It will request you to get your location. So it will put the dot on the map right there for you. If you don't have that, or you want to resist it, you can actually There's a mapping component, and you can drag it to the location that you're at to approximate it. And sometimes the GPS is off a little bit, but yes, the answer to your question is yes, it is. There's an XY coordinate that's attached with every request.
Oh, good. So if someone were to use this app on a weekend, is there a disclaimer there that staff is available Monday through Friday so that people aren't expecting something to be fixed on Sunday morning?
There's a lot of, so the app is one component of it, but part of the onboarding process is working with all the departments and creating that level expectation, the service level agreement effectively that the city would be having with the citizens. So that is appropriately messaged throughout the process. So yeah, there's definitely like I said, oversimplified. It's a very complex project that is involved. It's going to touch every single city department, but it is about the messaging, and I we want to make sure that council is involved with this as we move forward, as part of the messaging and the verbiage and how we get the word out, and marketing and everything as well. It's important. It's important. I think it's a great move for the city. We don't want to miss that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to ask Councilmember Lydia. Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Thomas, for your presentation. And this is something we've been waiting for, so it's exciting that it's being launched. So do you know when and how, if we're ever considering to do a text messaging capability also?
Glad you brought that up.
Does this allow it, or is that a completely different project?
So that was one of the key differentiations between the two products. We were working with SeeClickFix and QSend. The other product, QSend, that I'm not bringing before you tonight, had that functionality out of the box. SeeClickFix, however, does not, but they've had a lot of desire for that. They recently were purchased by Civic Plus, who is a maker of website technology. Civic Plus had a product that allowed that text messaging as well as tweeting, and some Facebook stuff as well. So you really can kind of open this up, and we want to be careful about how we do that. But yes, that has been one of the things. I was at a conference a long time ago, and city of North Carolina, Cary, North Carolina. Sorry, the town of Cary. They had that a while back, probably 3 years ago, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. They had a dog park, and the example that they used is there was a automatic gate, and the person forgot their key card to get access to the dog park, and so they text messaged their system, and within minutes the gate was able to open and let the person in. So that's actually an extreme example, because they had the resources to sit there and monitor the system, and they were willing to commit to that. But that is something that is not when we first launch, but that is on the roadmap for very soon thereafter. So yes, the system will have it. It just won't right when we launch.
Thomas, I mean, I keep coming back to staff, but that's a very good example of, there was a living person just waiting for that text message to come in. And so having that capacity is useless for us until we have someone that's willing to respond, that can respond immediately. There's a kind of an expectation. I don't know how many of you text. I think everyone texts these days, but if you text a bank or some commercial entity, there's an expectation that you'd get a response pretty much immediately. And a lot of it's automated, but at the end of the day, most of our functions require a person to respond. And so we're going to have to increase staff if we're going to increase to that level of responsiveness.
I do
So
think
that's not in the.
I do
Sorry.
think that it's going to allow the staff to be more effective in responding. So it'll save them time. So while they're not going to be sitting waiting for the question to come, they'll be able to respond more effectively and more efficiently.
Thank you. Lydia, do you have additional questions? Because
Ye-
your hand's still up.
Yes, thank you so
Go ahead,
much.
please.
It's not a question, it's a comment. And I think, Ryan, I believe if we're going to reach out to our communities and engage them in such ways, it might require that we consider either hiring or expanding someone's capability, because like I do get text messages from the city of Auburn and Kent, one because I lived there and the other one because I worked there in the past. And so they on a regular basis update their residents what they're doing. And so I think between that and email, we have to start giving people access and also us being able to reach out. So I think it's something we should really consider. And I understand our financial constraints, but it's a good way and a good mechanism to engage with our residents here in Federal Way. So I would really encourage that for us as council to actually consider how we're going to make this more efficient and effective and not be constrained by not having a person. And I do appreciate that.
And
But
That's and that is a good point. And I think those kind of one-way communications that are essentially just notices or it's just a way of publicizing a canned set of, something we've prepared ahead of time. That's different than having a dialogue with someone over text message. So it's much easier to do those canned. I think we can do those easily now. Just send out responses through the app, or not responses, send out messages through the app about upcoming events or things like that, messaging. Just like we do on Facebook or any of the other social platforms.
Council President Honda?
I was just going to remind Councilmember Safford Dawson that budget season is coming, and those are things that if she's interested in talking about, to write a list down so that she can bring that up during the budget sessions.
thank you. Yeah. And we can sit down and talk about some of those too. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Chair Tran, if I
Yes, go ahead.
can add one component to that. We did ask when we surveyed the other cities, Auburn, Renton, and Redmond specifically are the three that we talked to. And Lakewood as well. I did ask about adding staff, and we're staff impacted, and largely they said no, not really. And before he say, oh, okay, well, the technology helped, keep in mind that those cities are I think they're much better staffed than we are. And I know in IT, every single one of those are higher staffed than we are, if you want to compare it to the service and workload that they do. So the same thing can translate to public works crew, maintenance crew, to our graffiti and litter abatement team, as well as to our parks maintenance crew. So just keep that in mind. Technology, and this is going to kind of like a crude example, technology is going to be kind of a lipstick on the pig, so to speak. I'm not trying to call our city a pig, but it's that's not where I'm going with it. But
I need to mute.
It's the analogy that I think conveys the perspective that the technology is going to be cool and shiny and really fun and awesome, and it's going to allocate that or create that two-way communication with our residents, which is really, really awesome and critical, especially in this day and age. But at the same time, our workflow processes, like Ryan has indicated, it's not adding more boots on the ground. It's not adding more fingers to pick up the litter, not adding more people to push the mowers, to cut the grass or to fill the potholes. So that's what I think council really needs to. So kind of to your point, Councilmember Seth Dawson and Council President Honda. I mean, that's where we're at.
Mr. Chair, if I may just add something, I think based on the question that Councilmember Barroso sent yesterday regarding some of the consultants' contract, that is pretty much to some degree how majority of the city department operate. So instead of having full-time employees, we often contract out in order to minimize cost, in order to minimize the cost of a full-time staff. Public Works, CD, those are also departments that will be able to step up that, yes, we're not able to do this, because we do that on contract. And I think the need for additional staff throughout the city is just right there. And I think it probably will be there for a while. Just want to throw that out.
Thank you. Council President Honda.
I forgot to lower my hand, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
There you go.
All right, thank you. Does anybody else have questions or comments? Okay, I see none. May I have the motion, please?
So
I'll
Chair
be happy
Tran,
to
I
read
move.
it. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go
Go ahead,
ahead.
Linda.
That's okay, Mark. Go ahead.
No, that's right. Okay. I move to forward the proposed agreement to the August 11th, 2020 consent agenda for approval.
And I'll second that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I oppose? Motion carries 3-0. Okay, next item, Microsoft Enterprise Agreement. Thomas.
Okay. Good evening, Chair Tran, committee, council members, council president. Before you tonight is the Microsoft Enterprise Agreement. And this is something that we've had since 2008, I believe, or 7. It's been a while. It's how we manage and how we license our Microsoft software. So from the desktop operating systems that you are commonly aware of, Microsoft Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc., to the Windows operating system that powers the computers, to all the back-end stuff, including the Microsoft Windows servers that we have, Exchange Server, and all the licenses that make that happen, including a lot of the remote licenses that we actually just added substantially or increased substantially due to the CARES Act funding because of all the remote work that we need. So all of that is licensed through this enterprise agreement. But we find ourselves kind of in a crossroads here because, as I'm sure many of you are aware, you've heard of a lot of the cloud-based software, and with Microsoft, it's the 365 product, or Office 365, or Microsoft 365. And so we've largely been an on-premise system department for a while. We have our servers downstairs in the server room at City Hall, and we manage all of our stuff on premise. But as the technology continues to evolve, these manufacturers, Microsoft being just along there with them, with the rest of them, is trying to drive people to cloud. And it's really there's one aspect to that, and that is to make the shareholders, happy because they can get recurring revenue. But they're forcing the customers because what they're starting to do now is either not include particular feature sets, or they're coming in later. If you're on the Office 365 platform, you get the feature set, or you get it right away. Sometimes you don't. If you're on premise, you don't get it at all. And so we're kind of at this crossroad. And so right now, what we've got is we've got a hybrid type of an approach that I'm proposing before you tonight, where we're going to largely keep our on-premise licensing, but we're going to add a certain amount of licenses for the 365 platform. And the way I was able to make this work, because right now Microsoft has increased their price, their licensing costs, just like they do every single year. This is no or three-year chunks. This is no exception. They were going to raise the price. And so what I wanted to do is see if I could blend the hybrid of Microsoft 365 with our on-prem and at least try and dabble into that, because I couldn't convert. If we converted everybody over to the whole city, all of our licensing, it would be something in the neighborhood of almost $150,000 to $160,000 a year. And so while we're close to that, I'm considering the times that we're in. It's probably not the right time to do that. So if I can keep it kind of as status quo as possible, that was my angle. And where I was able to do this, as I was able to lower our total user accounts down, and then increase the Microsoft 365, because for each Microsoft 365 license, a particular user can use multiple devices. So for example, myself, I have 3 devices here at my desk. I have this laptop, I have one desktop computer, and I have another desktop computer that I use for varying purposes. I have to have 3 licenses for that. However, with the Microsoft 365 license strategy, I can be one user and I can use up to 5 devices all at the same time. So there's some benefit to that. And that's one of the things that they try and keep, they drive people towards the cloud platform because of those type of benefits. So before you tonight is a hybrid approach to this licensing strategy. What's actually in the agreement, I just got a thing back from our Microsoft licensing rep today that changed things just a little bit on a line item basis. But the good news is the total amount that's going to be before you, it's actually less than what is before you. So, or the motion that the council will approve is actually a little bit more in money and total cost than what the contract will be. It'll be a little bit less, and I can show that to you if you'd like to see it. So this is the screen here, and if I look at the enterprise agreement, this is what actually it's Excel. So this is what the new revision is, and it was actually, hold on. I don't think I see. All right, well that was, I was working on it, and then that's frustrating. I think maybe I put it in the, gosh darn it, I'm sorry. I didn't save it. I had all these numbers up to date, but I did not save it. So I don't have the, I don't have it in front of me right now. So for that, I apologize. I didn't hit save when I was supposed to hit save. But in any case, it came down to, I believe it was about $600 less total cost. So the line items would change a little bit, and it just has to do with the way that Microsoft licensed it. They came back and they said, actually, we have to put these line items in. But the total cost, we're getting 127 licenses for Microsoft 365 platform, but we licensed for a total amount of 405 users is what we need. And that's just based on some shared accounts that we use, some temporary staff that we have, and then in addition to our full-time employees. So all of that said, that's what's before you, our 3-year contract enterprise agreement for Microsoft. And we are going to be doing a hybrid approach with or I'm proposing a hybrid approach for Microsoft 365 as well as our on-premise system. So with that,
Great.
some questions?
Thomas, thank you. Committee members, do you have any questions? Council members, do you have any questions? No? Okay, I do have just little questions. I noticed on the document that you submitted, you mentioned that some of our systems still use Windows 7. Why that is?
The answer is we just don't have the time to upgrade them all. So we're working on that actively. As part of the year 1 contract, why it's more than year 2 and 3 is because we are paying for the extended support. So that is going to allow us to keep compliant with the CJIS requirements that we have for the officers. But we are working and actively have a plan to get Windows 7 out of here. It's been one of those things that it's when we start touching every single computer and upgrading it from Windows 10 or Windows 7 to Windows 10, there's a lot that goes along with that. And unfortunately we're just in a firefight mode most of the time. And so, but we've got a plan. This is going to buy us that extra year of support for Windows 7, so we'll be secure, and then we will be off of Windows 7 for probably 99% of our users by mid next year when that support expires.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for that information. Okay, if we don't have any other questions or comments, may I have the motion, please?
I move to forward the proposed agreement to the August 11th, 2020 consent agenda for approval.
I second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and we have a second. Is there any discussion? Any further discussion? No? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Moving on to vouchers. Ade.
Thank you, Committee Chair Tran. I've answered a couple of emails today, just wondering if there's any other additional question. To clarify some of my message on the email, for the Council President question, each time that we buy a new car, we have to equip them with the computers and of course with the restraint that goes in between and all of the computer stand and all of that. So most of the items that were charged to the repair are considered addition to the newer cars. And also, in addition to buying newer cars, we were also replacing some cars. So because we are replacing some cars, we're having to change the laptop in some of them also. We replace laptop probably faster than we replace the cars because of the software, how fast some of the software on the laptop goes. So those are also some of the items that were covered under the HP on some of those purchases. And as I mentioned before too, Councilmember Barroso asked about the consulting. Most of those are the engineers that we employed, that we contract with to do some work for us in public works, either through King County or individual businesses for design and for right-of-way inspection. That is what those are for. I think I attached some vouchers to my last email so you can see detail of the items also. So I'll be glad to answer any other question.
Thank you, Ade. Committee members, do you have any questions? Council President Honda, go ahead, please.
Thank you. I don't have any additional questions. I just want to thank you, Ade, for responding as quickly as you do to the questions that I always ask. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you to Council President Honda and also Council Member Barroso for asking additional questions. This is great, and I really appreciate I am being included in the email so that I don't miss anything. So thank you for those questions. Okay, if we don't have any other question or discussion, may I have the motion, please?
Yeah, Chair, I move to forward the vouchers to the August 11th, 2020 consent agenda for approval.
And I'll second that.
Is there any additional discussion, questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Moving on to the last item is the monthly financial report for June 2020. Ade.
Thank you. Our sales tax, as we've shared with the council every month for the past 4 months, our sales tax is behind by less than 5%, and our CD, our permits and fee, is also down by about 39%. Utility tax is a little bit below, and I think, yes, the offices, some businesses may be closed, but because people are staying home, they are turning up their heat and using that as part of why that is down, but not as much. Business license, I think, based on what we've done with the grant that the council is asking us to push, where we ask for businesses to have business license in order for them to qualify. Actually, in the month of July alone, from July 1 through 24th, we've had 291 new business applicants. Yes, it's not a lot of money, but at least, people are applying, trying to get their licenses in order to be able to qualify for some of the grants. Yes, also because we went with the state, that is also helping us. I think we've seen a very good increase in the number of businesses that are registered with us. Yes, the fee is small, but every penny do count. So thank you for the council for supporting the idea of signing up with the state. And when we did the revenue modification, our admission tax also, in addition to the CD permit and the sales tax, our admission tax is also very, very low, because the movie theaters and all of those that will be able to charge for admission taxes are closed. The parks and general recreation fees is also down, because again, so our parks are closed to this is supposed to be actually soccer season, where most of our fare will be used by the soccer team around the area, and they will pay a fee to rent a place. So all of that is down. REIT, real estate excise tax is another major portion that is down again, which we use the REIT to fund most of our capital projects. That is also down. Red light, I think because of the lockdown, that is greatly affected. So those are I think, probably 5 items that I think I will ask the council to keep an eye on, and as we move along. So on page 81, again, where we're showing the table for REIT, let me see if you can see actually, especially in April, we had a budget of 230,000. We did 185,000. In May, 248. We did better. We did 309. And in June, 312. We did 237. And below that, if you see the lodging tax, even though the revenue does not come into the general fund, the hotel motel lodging tax is, very off. Also, if you look at from April, we budgeted about 22,000. We came up with the 12,000. In May, 25,000 was 6,289. In June, 21,000 was 11,000. Those are the impact of COVID-19 and the lockdown. So throughout this report, that shows all of those things. In addition to those individual revenues, I think Federal Way Community Center, Demos Bay, Performing Arts Center, I think there will still be another source of, because they are totally closed. So there's no revenue in there. And as I have shared with the council in all of the financial update, because they are closed, there's no revenue coming in. And in order to prevent vandalization of people breaking in, we're maintaining minimum staff. So you have money going out and money not coming in. So yes, the budget amendment that the council passed will address some of these things. And when we put the financial report for the month of July together, that budget will be reflected. Yes, those funds will be okay, but nonetheless, the revenue sources will still show a decline. Yes, the funds will be fine, but the individual revenue sources will still show a major decline. And If I may, as part of this report, just a quick on the utility tax. I think we picked up the check from Lake Haven on Friday. So they paid us the major part of the utility tax, 1.6 million, which will cover till end of June of 2018 through May 2020. And of course, the interest on the utility tax, the interest amount to $42,442. So we had that check as of Friday. It is deposited into the city's account, and we'll be working with them in trying to recoup the May 2018 and the April 2018 and the tail end of March 2018. So, but we are moving forward as we go along. I would like to thank Councilmember Mark Kopang. I thought maybe he will physically be in town, but because of this lockdown, we're not able to do anything before he left for California. I will greatly miss him. I think he has been a great addition of this committee, and I really appreciate his questions and his involvement in the committee. And actually, I appreciate his support. We will greatly miss him. This is his last meeting.
Thank you, Ade.
Yeah.
I'll be by the office on Friday. If you're around, I'll see you.
Okay. And Councilmember Kopang is not the only one living. Dana, I got money from Lake Haven. So what did they do to me? So they hire away my right-hand person. So I get no good deed. No good deed will go unpunished. So here we are. Dana will be leaving us to join Lake Haven at the middle of this next month. So, she'll be leaving too.
Sorry to hear that, Ade.
Yeah,
Wow,
I guess,
that's interesting.
yeah.
All right. Right now it's 5:42. Let's get this thing done so that we can join the other meeting. I do see Councilmember Kochmar raising her hand. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Quick question, Ade. On page 82, you have the total jail cost for annual budget for 2020 is $4,363,000. Year-to-date actual, does that mean through half the year is $1,096,000? That's quite a difference.
Yes. I think partly because of COVID-19, they are not, in order to minimize the infection, and because of the activities of our court and the police, the actual number of people that we have in jail is way less than what we budgeted. We plan on 70 ADP, and we are doing about 36 now. So that is part of why.
Per day?
Yes.
36 per day? Uh-huh.
Yes. So that is part. And again, if you notice in the budget amendment, actually, I really appreciate Chief Wang, recognizing that we reduced that amount. So when you see the July financial report, you will see a reduction in the total budget of that jail because we're using that money in some other areas. But it's because the ADP has been low, that is why that amount has been down.
And Ade, I just wanted to add, it's not just that it's not like we selectively chose not to book people to avoid a plague or something like that.
Oh, no.
Crime was down. People just weren't out. So we had a very large reduction in crime for a while, but it's starting to pick up again. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Ryan. It's not, yeah, thank you, Ryan. We're not deliberately just keeping people out of jail. So, but for budget reasons, no.
Okay. Council President Honda, I see you raise your hands up.
Oops, where did I go? I disappeared. Okay.
We still can hear you.
Okay. No, I don't have I don't have a question. I forgot to lower my hand.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Well, we don't have any other questions or discussion. Have we voted on this?
No,
haven't,
Councilmember
right?
Chair Tran. No, I move to forward the June 2020 monthly financial report to the August 11th, 2020 consent agenda for approval.
Can I have a motion? I mean, second.
Yeah, Councilmember Kopang.
My apologies. I was muted. I second that. Sorry.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and we have a second. Is there any other questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried 3-0. A day I do see under
I made
Other-
that as, yes, I made that as part of my financial report or
Okay,
based on
so
the
you-
utility tax, so now that is save
okay,
us time.
so we can ignore that. Thank you for that. So our future meeting is going to be August 25th at 5 p.m. I would assume we'll be on Zoom again. So before we conclude this meeting, I would like to take this opportunity to thank committee member Mark Copan for his time on this committee. It was a great honor to work with him side by side on this committee, and I am going to miss him. And I want to wish you, Mark, all the success and happiness at your new place. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Committee Chair. Appreciate it. It was an honor working with you as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, with that, we conclude this meeting at 5:47. We'll see you again at with a 6
6
Yes.
o'clock.
6 o'clock. All
So
right.
sign in early so you sign in and we can start at 6.
There you go. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye.